Hello friends, welcome to the Point. In this session, we are discussing about soils. Soil, it is a mixture of rock, debris and organic materials which developed on the earth's surface. The major factors that affects the formation of soil are relief, parent material, climate, vegetation and other life forms and time. Classification of soils. India has varied relief features, landforms, climatic realms and vegetation types, and this have contributed in the development of various types of soils in India. In ancient time, soil it is used to be classified into two main groups, Urvara and Usara, which means Urvara refers to fertile and Usara refers to sterile. In the 16th century, soils were classified on the basis of their inherent characteristics and external features such as texture, color, slope of the land and moisture content in that particular soil. Based on the texture, main soil types were identified as sandy soil, clayey soil, silty soil and loam soils, etc. On the basis of colors, they were red, yellow, black, etc. On the basis of genesis, color, composition and location, the soils of India have been classified into alluvial soil, black soil, red and yellow soils, laterite soil, arid soil, saline soils, peaty soil and forest soil. Alluvial soils, they are widespread in the northern plains and the river valleys, and these soils they cover about 40% of the total area of the country. They are depositional soils and transported and deposited by the rivers and streams. In the peninsular region, this alluvial soil they are found in the deltas of the east coast and the river valleys. Alluvial soil varies in nature from sandy loam to clay. Alluvial soils they are generally rich in potash, but they are very poor in phosphorus. In the upper and middle Ganga plain, two different types of alluvial soils are developed. One is Khadar and the other is Bhangar. Khadar it is a new alluvium and it is deposited by floods annually, which enriches the soil by depositing fine silts. Bhangar it represents the system of older alluvium which is deposited away from the floodplains. Both Khadar and Bhangar soils they contain calcareous concretions. These soils are more loamy and clayey in the lower and middle Ganga plains and the Brahmaputra valley. The color of this alluvial soil it varies from light grey to ash grey color. Its shades depend on the depth of the deposition, the texture of the material and the time taken for attaining maturity. Alluvial soils they are intensively cultivated. Black soil it covers most of the Deccan Plateau, which includes parts of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and some parts of Tamil Nadu. Black soils are also known as Reger soils, or it is also called as black cotton soils. The black soils are generally clayey, deep and impermeable. They swell and they become sticky when wet and shrink when dried. So during the dry season, this soil develops a wide cracks. Thus, there occurs a kind of self-ploughing. Red and yellow soils. Red soil develops on crystalline igneous rocks in areas of low rainfall in the eastern and southern part of the Deccan Plateau. The soil develops a reddish color due to a wide diffusion of iron in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. It looks yellowish when it occurs in a hydrated form. The fine-grained red and yellow soils are normally fertile, whereas a coarse-grained soils which is found in dry upland areas are poor in fertility. They are generally poor in nitrogen, phosphorus and humus. Laterite soils. Laterite has been derived its name from the Latin word later, which means brick. The laterite soil, it develops in the area with high temperature and high rainfall. These are the result of intense leaching due to tropical rains. Humus content of the soil is removed fast by bacteria that thrives well in high temperature. This soil are poor in organic matter, nitrogen, phosphate and calcium, while iron oxide and potash are in excess. Hence laterites, they are not suitable for cultivation. Arid soils, they range from red to brown in color. They are generally sandy in structure and saline in nature. In some areas, the salt content is so high that a common salt is obtained by evaporating the saline water. Due to the dry climate, high temperature and accelerated evaporation, they lack moisture and humus. Nitrogen is insufficient and the phosphate content is normal. Saline soils, these are also known as Ushara soils. Saline soils, they contain a larger proportion of sodium, potassium and magnesium, and thus they are infertile and they do not support any vegetative growth. They have more salts, largely because of dry climate and poor drainage. They occur in arid and semi-arid regions. Peaty soils, they are found in the areas of heavy rainfall and high humidity, where there is good growth of vegetation. Thus, a large quantity of dead organic matter accumulates in these areas and it gives a rich humus and organic content to the soil. Organic matter in these soils may even go up to 40 to 50%. Forest soils. As the name suggests, forest soils, they are formed in the forest areas where the sufficient rainfall is available. The soils vary in structure and texture depending on the mountain environment where they are formed. They are loamy and silty on valley-sided and coarse-grained in the upper slopes. In the snow-bound areas of the Himalayas, they experience denudation and are acidic with low humus content. These soils are found in the lower valleys and they are very fertile. Soil erosion. The destruction of soil cover, it is described as soil erosion. The soil forming process and the erosional process of running water and the wind, it goes on simultaneously and it causes soil erosion. But generally, there is a balance between these two processes. The rate of removal of fine particles from the surface is the same as the rate of addition of particles to the soil layer. Wind and water, they are the powerful agents of soil erosion because of their ability to remove soil and to transport it to some other place. Wind erosion, it is significant in arid and semi-arid regions. In regions with heavy rainfall and steep slopes, erosion by the running water, it is more common. Water erosion, which is a serious problem that occurs in different parts of India, it takes place mainly in the form of sheet and gully erosions. Sheet erosion, it takes place on the level lands after heavy shower and soil removal is not easily noticeable, but it is harmful since it removes the finer and more fertile topsoil. Gully erosion is common on steep slopes. Gullies, it deepens with the rainfall. It cuts the agricultural land into small fragments and make them unfit for cultivation. Soil erosion, it is a very serious problem in India, especially for agriculture. Eroded soil materials are carried down to rivers and they lower down their carrying capacity and it causes frequent floods and damage to agricultural lands. Deforestation, it is one of the major causes of soil erosion. Soil conservation. If soil erosion and exhaustion are caused by humans, and then obviously they can also be prevented by humans. Nature has its own laws of maintaining balance. Nature offers enough opportunities for humans to develop their economy without disturbing the ecological balance. Soil conservation. is a methodology to maintain soil fertility, prevent soil erosion and exhaustion, and improve the degraded condition of the soil. Soil is essentially aggravated by faulty practices. The first step in any rational solution is to check open cultivable lands on slope from farmings. Lands with a slope gradient of 15 to 20% should not be used for cultivation. But still, if the land is to be used for agriculture, terraces should be carefully made. Overgrazing and shifting cultivation in many parts of India, it has affected the natural cover of land and it has given rise to extensive erosion. All such things should be regulated and controlled by educating villagers about the consequences. Counter-bunding, counter-terracing, regulated forestry, controlled grazing, cover cropping, mixed farming and crop rotation are some of the remedial measures which are often adopted to reduce soil erosion. See you in the next session with some other interesting topic. Thank you.